Hi, this is Payal Agarwal. Namaste.
Hello, good afternoon, namaste, welcome back. Today we are going to make something which is very popular in India and all over the world. One of the, I think, the recipes that have made its mark in everybody's heart, and it's become a national dish of many of the places abroad, and it does originate from India. So we are going to make a delicious North Indian gravy, the makhani gravy. So this can be used in various dishes. Today we'll make it with paneer, which is cottage cheese. You could also make it with any of your meats, with chicken, with fish. You can make it with veggies. You can make it with mushrooms. It turns out very good with mushrooms as well. And very, succulent, very delicate, fragrant, and it's a delicious dish. Again, this gravy can be made in a big batch and kept for further use. It does stay in the fridge for at least a week. And 2 or 3 variations in this gravy could make you different kinds of gravies also. That I will also be talking about. So this is the basic makhani gravy. So let's begin. I'll tell you what I have pre-prepared a little bit to kickstart the recipe. So I'll show you what I've done. So what I've done in our pan is, I've taken, again I'm making a big batch today so that I can keep it in my fridge as well, because mine got over. So thank you to all of y'all that I can also make my batch along with y'all today. So this is the makhani gravy. So I've taken tomatoes, I've taken onion, again 5 things: tomatoes, onion, cashew nuts, ginger, garlic. Okay. So 5 things: tomatoes, onion, cashew nuts, ginger and garlic. So now these 5 things we have put a tad bit of water, little bit of salt, and we brought it to a boil. Now once this boils on a low flame for a good say 15 minutes, it will all become nice and soft, and that is how we want it. See, all nice and soft, all the tomatoes, onions all transparent, translucent. So basically that. So this is done. Now we will blend it to a very smooth paste. It should be very smooth. Okay, so we'll just blend it over there. The blending is happening while we talk. So 2 minutes of your time and I will tell you how to make variations in this gravy. So we took 5 things: tomatoes, onions, ginger, garlic, cashew nut. Okay. Now the proportions for this particular gravy is, you take tomatoes. Suppose you're taking 4 tomatoes, take 2 onions, half the amount of onions. The amount of onions that you have, you take similar amount teaspoons of cashew nuts. And just see that it's ground up and it's a paste which is very smooth. Okay, so keep grinding it till it's smooth, absolutely smooth. We want the gravy absolutely smooth. Okay, so the 5 things we take, the grinding is happening, and it will take time. See that there are no pieces left, and it's people do normally grind it and then pass it through a sieve to make it even smoother. I don't like to do that because I like the fiber to stay in the gravy. Okay. Happening. Surely but slowly but surely happening. Done, I think now. Okay. So we'll get the gravy, and I was talking about the variations. First the proportions. So double the amount of tomatoes. So 4 tomatoes, 2 onions, 2 spoons, similar 2 teaspoons of cashew nuts, and 1 small square inch of ginger, and 2 tablespoons or say roughly around 7 to 8 cloves of garlic. So that happens. Once that is done, we get a paste like this. You boil it and this is the paste. Okay, can you see? That's the paste. So the paste is done, and now what we do is we start. So the variations in this gravy is, you can minus the tomatoes. Once you minus the tomatoes, it becomes a Shahi gravy. Shahi gravy means basically royal. Makhani gravy means like butter, buttery. Okay, so it should be smooth, it should be subtle. There are no overpowering flavors in this. So we are not going to use ginger garlic paste extra. We are not going to use any very strong masalas. No. This is going to be the predominant flavor, I'll tell you, is a one ingredient that is used very widely in India, fenugreek leaves, methi. So the leaves that you get, you can again dry roast them, the fresh leaves, or you could put it in the oven, as I told you, and let it sit there, let it cool down in the oven, and it will all become dry and powdery. Put it in the mixer jar, give it a whack, and your powder is ready. So you use that. That is the only flavor. And we put no kind of seeds for tempering, nothing. It has to be silky smooth, this gravy. Okay. So the variation. So if you don't put the tomatoes, it becomes a Shahi gravy, which is a white color gravy. So 4 things will go into it: onion, ginger, garlic, cashew nut. Okay. Now you can minus the onion and make it only with tomatoes, cashew nut, ginger and garlic. That is also your butter masala gravy. So these are 2-3 types of variations. You could minus the cashew nuts and make ginger, garlic, onion and tomato. That is now a very basic Indian gravy paste. Make that, put it in your fridge. It will last to up to at least a week, 10 days. And you can throw in potatoes in that, you can throw in your paneer again, you can put veggies, you can put mushrooms, you can just use it as a bread spread also, it's yummy. So these are the 4-5 kinds of gravies that are very widely used in India. And this is by far, I think, one of the most widely used and loved, the makhani gravy. Okay, so let's begin. Oil in. Now when you are going to conserve it, I am going to just put the oil according to our recipe. So 2 dinner spoons, 2.5 actually, because we are going to fry the rest of the things in this. But if you are going to preserve it, take a little bit more of the oil. Oil is a preservative. So if you nicely saute it in oil, make sure the moisture evaporates completely and then you put it in the fridge. Okay. So the oil is, before it starts heating up too much, cottage cheese, paneer as we call it. So I have cut it into cubes like this and you put it in the oil. It will sizzle, be very careful. It spits around too much. Okay. So once that goes in, these sounds make me so happy. It's like music to my ears. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. So you know you're doing something right. Okay. See why Indian cuisine is again so popular, because we use a lot of aromatics. So like in this recipe we are using fenugreek leaves. So aromatic. Some, in recipes down south we use curry leaves. We use ginger, we use garlic, we use basil, we use a whole lot of like fennel seeds, jeera, cumin seeds, cumin powder. So these are such good and lovely aromats. They give you such nice, some give you a leafy flavor, some give you a earthy flavor. That's why Indian cuisine has gained the popularity all over the world in today's time, because I think a very few cuisines all over the world have this kind of variety. I mean, if you see from starting from North India down to South, East to West, you give them one ingredient and all over India they'll make it differently for you. If you give them a basic potato and onion, everywhere they'll make it differently for you and it tastes different. They use different ingredients. Such variety which you don't get in any other cuisine, I think. So hats off to our Indian food, very scientific. They promote eating the right things at the right time, eating seasonal, eating, according to Ayurveda, there are 3 kinds of food. So there is Sattvic, Rajasic and Tamasic. We will discuss it at a later date. back to our recipe. So this is sizzling away. You just give it a bit of a turn or a toss around so that all the sides are equally cooked. We want it not very brown, the pieces, but they are absolutely soft. It's like tofu. So the texture of paneer is like tofu. So you want it little bit to firm up, little bit. Okay. See, nice sound, no? So they're sizzling away. So you just drag it to a side little bit. So that will keep doing its thing, and on the other side we will put the rest of the veggies. So today I have taken capsicum because I love capsicum, and I have taken sliced onions. Okay, and you can of course throw in any veggies that you want to. Feel free. Use carrots, use beans, use green peas, use mushrooms, use cauliflower, any veggies that you want. But traditionally, even onion and capsicum even onion and capsicum is not used. But what I try is put something green in my food, in every recipe that I make. It gives me that satisfaction that we are putting in that required amount of vitamins inside us. Okay, so you just toss around everything so that everything kind of cooks. Okay, and then I'll just show you one of the pieces. And be very gentle with the paneer because it has a tendency to splatter and break and become a mess like tofu. So be very, very careful. And of course, if you are a vegan and if you are lactose intolerant, go in for tofu. It's a great substitute and it works absolutely exactly the same way. Okay. This is my son's favorite gravy. So whenever I'm making this in the house, he says, "Mom, the house is smelling like a restaurant." So you won't miss restaurant. This is the trick. You know, people who say, "Oh, the gravy that you get in restaurants, we can't make it at home." This is how you make it at home. Easy, but little bit of patience. See now, it's changing color. The paneer, light brown. This is how we want it. So now very carefully, with a gentle hand, just pick up everything, turn the gas to a low, pick up everything and put it aside in the bowl. Okay. Everything is just around, I've just about sauteed it. Nothing is really cooked. We will cook it when we are making the dish with the rice and the gravy, everything. Take out everything. Make sure to leave behind the oil in the pan as much as you can because we are going to cook the gravy in this oil only. Once that is kept aside, now time for the gravy. So now what we do is keep your lid handy, okay, because you'll need it immediately. The moment you pour in the gravy, you have to cover it because it really does splatter. So my weapon of choice, put it like this, cover yourself, gravy in, lid on. Safe. Okay. So at this point, little bit of, okay, now some places, when you go abroad, serve this gravy a little sweet. You could put a tad bit of sugar just to balance it out, but don't make it overtly sweet. Some places I've seen make it really, really sweet, like syrup, and that doesn't taste good. Balancing of flavors is very, very important. So when you put in the gravy now, at this point it should be on a high so that all the moisture kind of, just give it a bit of space so that the steam kind of can evaporate. Okay. Clean as you go. Nobody wants a dirty kitchen, as I told you. Always keep cleaning, keep wiping as we go along. Okay. So once that is happening, see, you can hear it sizzle. Every time you want to open the lid and check, make sure that you turn the gas to a low and then open it, otherwise it will come spitting all over you. So I am going to do that now. Put a little bit of salt to start its process. Okay, quarter teaspoon at the moment. Gas on a low, open the lid, put the salt in and give it a mix. Okay, careful, little bit of gap, turn it to a high and let it happen. It will I'll show you how will you know that the gravy is done. I'll show you. So once that is happening, we'll just prepare for the drink today. Again, a beautiful ingredient that we get very readily in the summers in India, raw mango. So what I've done is I've grated it and sort of like a mince, okay, like this. What you do is you add in 3 teaspoons of sugar, and because it is acidic, it's sour. Raw mango is absolutely sour, so it would start melting the sugar. Okay, and just give it a mix with the sugar and wait for it. So while we are cooking, this would have done its job. See, give it a thorough mix so that it starts melting the sugar. So we'll wait for that to melt away. That is done. Now turn the gas again to a low. Let's take a peek. Now see. Can you see? I'll just show you how the moisture is all dried up. And see how beautiful it's looking, like a thick gravy now. So since the tomatoes and onions and the ginger, garlic, everything was already boiled, okay, you don't need to see. It's changed color, looking pretty. Okay, so now at this point, again little bit more of the salt, a little bit of cumin powder, and that is the only masala that is going into this. Only salt and cumin powder. And if you like it spicy, little bit of red chili powder. I like it spicy. If you don't like it hot, you can avoid the red chili powder completely. Okay, now give it a mix. See how pretty it's looking. Everything amalgamated, everything cooked. See how nice it's looking. Okay, so now at this point we dip in the paneer and the capsicum and the onions which we had stir fried earlier. Put that in. Once that is done, give it a slight toss. Be very careful, very light handed so that you don't break the pieces of paneer. Okay, and once that is done, this is the magic in it, the fenugreek leaves. So fresh fenugreek leaves, you can do this dried herbs with coriander. You can dry basil, you can dry oregano leaves, you can dry curry leaves, you can dry any sort of herbs that you get. You put it in the oven. What you do is, I'll just say, so first let's finish this recipe. Once this is resting, we'll talk. So fenugreek leaves going in now. It gives it a very nice savory and fragrant flavor. It's amazing. This herb is just too good. Do try it. In India, we use it a lot. And you get it very readily in the markets also. And it can be made very easily at home. I'll tell you how. So once this is done, washed and soaked rice. Okay. So the entire thing going in now. See, today if you can see, I have made double the amount of rice. Simply because my husband loves this so much that he's going to eat it for dinner, and I will have to keep back some for him to eat it tomorrow. Can you imagine? And what he does is he makes me fry him 2-3 eggs, and he puts it on top of this rice bed and he eats that as a brunch. He just loves it. Now, no, not too many masala. See, it's luxurious. This gravy now, it's luxurious and it's subtle. It doesn't have, very, very strong flavors. It has very subtle flavors, very, earthy tones, and you'll get that hint of ginger, garlic, fenugreek leaves, but you won't get like that overpowering hit. Okay, so it's a very subtle, very beautiful gravy. So just a tad bit of salt more, and I feel this would need a little bit of red chili powder more according to our taste. Okay, so give that a slight toss, mix everything around, and put in the water. Heat on high again so that it can come to a boil. Water, and now you let it push everything from the sides into the pan. Give it a slight so that everything is covered, and done. Okay, now let this be on a high for a bit. Cover it and let it do its thing. So now we'll talk about the herbs. So what I do is I take mint, pudina, I take coriander, dhania, I take, as I showed you, the fenugreek, methi. You can take basil, you can take oregano, any herb that you get. Okay, so what you do is break the leaves, take it out of the stem, wash it thoroughly under running water, wash, and pat it dry with a kitchen towel, and take your oven tray and you lay it flat on that. Okay, and you put it in the oven for at least 5 to 7 minutes on 100 degrees. Once those 5 to 7 minutes are over, turn it low as your oven can go. Turn it to a low and let it be there again for 5 to 7 minutes. Just give it a shake once in a while, and what that will do is it will absolutely dehydrate those leaves. Okay, dehydrate those leaves, and those leaves become absolutely you can crush them with your hands. It becomes powdery, and you just crush them with your hands and store it in a box or in a jar, or you can put it in the processor and give it a wax so that it becomes absolutely powdery. And you put it in a airtight jar, and you needn't put it in the fridge or anything like that. You put it out and it stays for a good month and a half. Nothing happens to it. So all the herbs you can, whenever it's seasonal, like we get pudina, we get all these fresh herbs like methi, we get only in the winters in India. So every winter, this is one of my things that I do. I preserve my herbs, dry them and preserve them, so that we can keep using them. And of course, you do get them all in stores, but it really doesn't take any effort. I mean, it's just the washing that you have to do. Rest, it's effortless. The oven is doing its thing. You don't have to really do anything to it. So things that can be done at home, and if you have the time and the inclination, of course, go ahead and do it. It's very easy, and you get nice fresh herbs, no dust, no grime, no nothing in it. Nice, pure, fragrant herbs to use whenever you want. Great. So this has been on a high for at least 2 to 3 minutes. Turn that to a low. Let it sit for another 5 minutes. Okay, so today, we were talking about gravies. This was one of the most widely liked, if I may say so, in my culinary backpack. My friends, my family members, they all love this gravy, so I make it a lot, and it is widely loved all around the world. So makhani gravy, make a big batch: tomatoes, onions, ginger, garlic, cashew nuts. Okay, and you can minus the tomatoes, it becomes a white color shahi gravy. So you will boil the onions, cashew nuts, ginger and garlic. Similarly, like we did with this gravy, bring it to a boil and you put it in the processor and put oil, put the gravy in, mix it like so and wait for it to dry up a tad bit. Put it in the fridge, store it, and then in India we make a very nice dish out of that gravy. We make malai kofta. Malai kofta is basically little deep fried balls of this paneer, cottage cheese, and boiled potatoes. Mash it nicely, make balls out of it, fry it, and put it in that gravy. That gravy can be thinned out with milk or with water. I normally put half milk, half water, and you make the gravy, put the fenugreek leaves, and it's ready. Again, you can minus the onions and you can make it a completely red gravy. That red gravy is used with a lot of mixed veggies like a jhal frenzy. You can make, with paneer, you can make that with all mushrooms, you can make with potatoes. So go ahead, experiment with these gravies, and again you can minus the cashew nuts and make the basic masala. So tomatoes, onions, ginger, garlic. Okay, so equal amounts of tomato and onion, and half of that of ginger and garlic. Okay, so these four things again, just give it a little bit of a boil, blend it, put it in the oil, saute it nicely. Done. So that these are your five. We spoke about 4 types of gravies today, and do give them a try. They are lovely, and it's good to have in your fridge so that you can use whenever you want. So it's been 2-3 minutes. We'll just take a peek. Happening. See how nicely it's bubbling away. Oil is all separating. The rice is becoming nice and plump. It will just take 2-3 minutes more. At this point, let's check the seasoning once. As I told you, keep checking as we go. So I'll just check the seasoning. Hot. Needs salt. Salt. Very important. I need salt. So, salt going in now. Again, give it a slight toss so that salt doesn't sit in one place. Shake. So when we were growing up, I have only 2 best friends, as you can, as they say, my favorite people in the world, my best girlfriends. One is in Canada now and one is in Delhi. I'm in Calcutta. But we do keep in touch. We speak at least 10 times a day, if not more. We used to, whenever we used to go for lunches or dinners out, there were only 2-3 places to go out when we were growing up. And this was one of our favorite things to eat. And both my friends were non-vegetarians, and I was the only vegetarian. And the third one, nobody listens to the vegetarian, and nobody used to listen to me at that time. So they used to call for the chicken makhani, and what I used to do is meekly I used to eat my roti with the gravy. So what you can do also is, I'm making it with rice today, but what you can do is make this gravy, and this is a dish by itself. You can eat it with your breads, right? You can eat it with your naan, you can eat it with your masala kulcha, you can eat it with your lachha paratha, normal roti, and just toast the bread lightly, soft on the tawa, on a pan, and eat it with that. It's too good also. So now 2-3 minutes are done. I'll switch the gas off and let this sit like all one pot recipes for at least 5 minutes. Okay, so while that is happening, so these friends of mine have tortured me like that, and I think that was the time when I decided that I must cook and I must learn how to feed myself, because they only used to keep calling for non-vegetarian khana, and I don't eat, and I was a deprived one, and till date I do that. So whenever they are in town and whenever we do go out together, they call for the non-vegetarian food, and I have to dip my bread in the gravy and I have to eat it. But now I've become a little strong in front of them, so I do call for my vegetarian, and I make sure that they also eat the vegetarian khana. It's good, it's healthy, it's nutritious, it really does a load of good to you when it goes inside you. Please, it's a humble request. I'm not saying I have nothing against people who are non-vegetarian. A lot of people around me, my best friends, my family members are non-vegetarians. Go ahead, please do eat it. But try and include a lot of veggies in your diet. You need the fiber. So only animal protein cannot get digested by itself. It needs help, right? So the fiber, the plant-based fibers, the greens, they help us to maintain that balance. They are like the grinding agent, so they help to digest these hard, difficult to digest meats in our body. So do include vegetables. They are yummy, they are tasty, and they will provide a lot of satisfaction to your soul and to your body when you put that in. Okay, so now for our drink. See, the sugar is starting to melt. Can you see? See, starting to melt. So this is, see, it's starting to melt. And again, raw mango is so good. It's so good for you. It cools your system. It's acidic, so it will cool your system. It will, not let you any indigestion that is happening inside you. It will solve that. So it's a great thing to have in the summers. Instead of having all your sodas, please make this. And when you dip it in sugar like this itself can be kept in the fridge again for 3 to 4 days easily. Keep taking out spoonful, put a little salt, rock salt, put a little water, and your drink is ready. Have that, right? It doesn't take any kind of effort. The poor mango and the sugar has done it for us. We didn't do anything. We just gave it a little bit of a stir. That much I think we can do. Okay, so now this mix is going into the glass. All of it. Okay, all of that goes in, and I've got some nice fresh mint leaves here. So one of that we just tear into bits. As I told you, when you're tearing any herb, it gives out its nice fragrant aroma and oils and becomes nice. And so you tear that into the glass, give it a mix. Put a little bit of rock salt, pink salt, rock salt, okay? A little bit of that. You could put cumin powder also. Today I am not going to put it. I am just putting a tad bit of salt in this. Again, top it up with whatever you please. Soda, if you want. I, as you know, will only put water. No soda for me. Water. The water goes in. Cooling, nice, yummy. Give these things a try. They don't really need you to do much. Poor things, they do their thing on their own only. And they help you. Okay, I'm trying to be chefy. I don't know how much this will work, but this was the peel of the raw mango. I washed it nicely. Let's try and decorate this glass. Is it looking decorative enough? So a little bit of that, a little twirl, if you please. And my pretty mint leaf on top. And cheers! Nice! See how pretty. And the bits of raw mango at the bottom will keep making it a little tart. And do chew that and have it. Don't discard this. This is the best part of the drink. Chew, chew, chew. And put it inside you. So drink is ready. Now let's check on our rice. Let's open it. Done. Time to taste. Okay, so little bit of the rice. Take on the plate. And you can garnish this with, I will show you, I have kept it back for you. And you must actually, see, this is fresh cream. So the milk that we get, we boil it every day. And when it's warm, not absolutely room temperature also and not hot also. When it's just about warm, you put it in the fridge. And this layer of fat comes on top. Okay, I'll just show it to you with a spoon. So this is the ingredient which ghee is also made out of. So this is what you boil. I told you I'll show you. So this is what you boil and get ghee out of. So you just put a tad bit of that in, and this is what will make it makhni, butter like. Okay, so this is the magic ingredient. So this is what makes it absolutely buttery and delicious, indulgent, royal if you please. So that now once it's gone in, now we just give it a taste. And you know, the fat layer of the milk has good fats. It's good for your bones. It's got calcium. Paneer has got calcium. It's packed full of protein. So people who feel vegetarians don't get enough protein, lentils, legumes, paneer, milk, incorporate these things in your diet, ghee. So you get adequate and enough for a person who is even bodybuilding for that matter. You get enough protein out of vegetarian food. Okay, sattu, as I had told you. We'll give it a taste. Hot, hot, hot. Mmm, perfect. I cannot tell you this gravy. You eat it once, and if your family and you yourself don't want to eat it at least twice a week, you just let me know. This is to die for. Amazing gravy, and I have given you 4 such recipes of gravies which you can make and keep. Makes your life easier. Dunk in anything you want in it and enjoy. So this was from the heartland, from the heart of India, food which is loved by one and all. Enjoy it, do try it, give me your feedback. And Pomo Nomo has become a big family, and we welcome everybody with open arms here. Do give in your feedback to us. We will write back to you, and I'll see you tomorrow again with a new recipe. Namaste.